Okay guys, here's the plot twist. So I know I'm looking like hella bummy right now. I mean, I'm not even washing my face, I'm not even gonna lie to you, but imagine I was just there ironing, doing my chores, being a good little Punjabi girl, and I get a phone call. He's like, yo, I've got an interview for you, it's tomorrow. So I've basically got 24 hours to prepare for an interview. And he said that it's not gonna be a grilling, it's gonna be relaxed, proper friendly, etc. But they told me that for training contract interviews, and I got grilled. I got absolutely torn apart. So I'm gonna prepare for this properly, you know. Obviously I don't want to like let this opportunity go to waste. So you know what, I am gonna go get ready. And what we're gonna do today is like a little mini like vlog style. So you're like, you know, like how YouTubers have a get ready with me. I'm gonna have a get ready for a paralegal role with me. I am so innovative, I know. But yeah, let me actually like not look as bummy anymore, and I'll see you at my desk where we will prepare for this interview together. And I'll take you through the whole journey, so the preparation, obviously not the interview itself because that might be a bit illegal, but then also we'll talk about the result at the end afterwards. So I'll be taking you on this whole journey, bit of banter if I get rejected. I'm unemployed, please hire me if you're watching this. But yeah, see you guys in a bit. Hey guys, I'm back. I've had a shower, I've freshened up. I'm really excited for you guys to join this get ready for a paralegal interview vlog with me. I am now starting to feel like a true YouTuber. The interview timing has come in, it's tomorrow at 1:30, so I'm now sat here at my desk and I am ready to go. But before I start my preparation, I want to inform you guys about my process for actually preparing for paralegal interviews. So when it comes to preparing for such interviews, I've always done them in a step-by-step manner. So firstly, I start off with researching the firm, and then I go into revising my experiences, everything that I've been involved in, revising my CV and familiarizing myself with those past responsibilities that I've had. And then I go into talking about my motivations for this role. So why is it that I want to have this paralegal role for this certain company or firm? And then during this whole process, I think about certain questions that I have that I'd want to ask the interviewer at the end of the interview. So now, without further ado, I am now going to go through those 4 steps, provide a document that showcases all of my research and preparation, and I'll get back to you guys in a bit. Of course, I don't want you guys watching a full 2 hours of me just working on my laptop, so I'm going to do a bit of a time lapse here. And by the way, viewers' discretion is advised. My slide profile is not the one. So firstly, let's talk about how I research the employer. So in this situation, of course, I'm not going to name the employer, but it's actually an in-house role. So I'm going to be researching everything about the company, what they do, what their objectives are, what their values are. Just so when it comes to the interview, I have that background knowledge available and it shows that I'm prepared. Another thing that I do is I also research the individual who's going to be interviewing me. In this situation, I do know who's interviewing me. I know that he's quite a prominent figure in this market, and therefore I want to be clued up on about him as a person, and that can lend into that last section about questions that I want to ask the interviewer at the end. Does anyone's parents come into their room and have fruit cut for them? Which is like the most honest and wholesome gesture ever. But yeah, I've got apples sent to my room, which is great. Then in terms of my experiences, as I mentioned, I revise my CV, I revise everything that I've been involved in terms of work experience, in terms of voluntary experience, and then I make sure I'm honed in about what particular responsibilities I was involved in during those work experiences. Just because if they ask me, oh, so what were you up to during your vacation scheme at PwC, I was able to tell them. But also in this section, when you want to revise your experiences and hone in on those skills that you've learned, it also helps to look at the job description of that certain vacancy and then match up those experiences to the job description. So say if they ask that you have some familiarity with a certain software, or that you have some drafting experience in terms of writing letters or contracts, if there are certain experiences that show that you have done these tasks before, it really goes in your favor when persuading the interviewer to pick you. Then the next section I think about in terms of preparing for this interview is my actual motivations for this role. Why do I want to work for this company? Why do I want to be a paralegal here? For example, someone could look at my application and say, well, your training contract's starting in a couple of months. Why do you want to be a paralegal now for a short space of time? And I could say things like, you know, it keeps me busy, I want to learn more about different practice areas before I start, I think it would be a great advantage. So really preparing answers to those motivational questions is really helpful as well. Within those motivational questions, you may also get asked questions about, tell us about yourself, what do you do in your spare time, etc. And it's really useful to practice those kind of questions beforehand as well. And then the last section I was talking about in terms of asking questions. So for example, you can ask questions about how you'll be working. Would it be a remote working space, or would you be expected to go into the office? Or you can ask questions about the interviewer himself. That's where section 1 comes in, where you've researched the firm, you've researched the individual, and any questions crop up about the company or the business or the interviewer. I always recommend asking questions at the end of an interview. It shows engagement, it shows real interest. I took a bit of a break and I went downstairs to get some food. Obviously I was on the hunt, and mum's made pakode. Wait, I don't know whether that's gonna focus. Like, this is like a mukbang kind of thing now. Yeah, would you look at that? Look at that. That's top quality there. And don't judge me for eating it with ketchup. We don't have that. Is it chutney? While I munch on this pakode, let me tell you on where I'm at with my preparation. So I've researched the company and what they're about, and it really, like, it's increased my desire to have this role, if that makes sense. They just seem really exciting. Their values are those that really align to mine. And the person who's interviewing me, so my employer, he's done some really great things in the legal field, and I think it would be an absolute honor to kind of work under someone like that. So yeah, if anything, it's kind of built my motivation to actually want to work harder for this role. One thing I'm really worried about with this role is the fact that a lot of the job description is things that I've actually not physically done before, like drafting an NDA or building up a playbook. So how can I actually talk about situations in the job description when I've not actually done the role itself? So say if the interviewer asks me, have you had experience with reviewing NDAs? I can say, well, I know what an NDA is. I've not specifically had any direct practical experience with it as a paralegal. However, I have shown through this, and this that I am quite adaptable to learning new things quite quickly, and I can tell you what an NDA is. I can tell you a basic structure of one because this is what I've researched. So it just goes to show that even if you don't have practical experience in something, it's good to still show that you have done that research and be honest with the interviewer as well. So that's how I'm going to go about certain questions where they may ask, have you done this or have you done that? And if I haven't had actual practical experience in it, I can talk about my research to show that I'm still engaged. I can talk about how I've actually learned things quickly from a general perspective, and also I can talk about something that I've studied that may relate to it. So for example, this job description states that you need to have a familiarity with key clauses in a contract. I've not really looked at that many contracts when I was a paralegal. My role has been more to do with legal tech sometimes. It's been more to do with real estate, with leases, rather than actually looking at the contractual aspect that you could get in a corporate department, for example. So say if they ask me, do you have experience with reviewing key clauses in a contract, I can actually link it back to my LPC experience where I studied an M&A module, and I can talk about, yes, I've actually studied about it, I received a distinction, which clearly shows that I have a good understanding of reviewing contracts and also just key M&A terms. So even though you may not have practical work experience, don't panic. You can still go about answering the questions set, and sometimes people are more understanding to the fact that you may not know everything. You can't know everything, especially for entry-level roles like paralegal roles, but what they do want to see is your adaptability and willingness to learn new things. Now, once I finish these pakode, I'm going to go back to my research. Hey guys, welcome back. So it's now 4 p.m, which means I've been working on this interview prep, I'd say for around 2 hours now, and I think I've mainly got everything that I wanted. I've got my application together, I've got it all saved in a document and brief bullet points about my responsibilities that I've done. I've prepared my motivations for why I want to be a paralegal at this time, so keeping myself busy, I like learning about new practice areas, and also I've mentioned another reason for why I want this role is to expand my network by working with different kinds of people, and I think it can really also set me up for my training contract as well, which is due to begin in March 2021. And in respect of that last section that I was talking about, so preparing questions that you want to ask the interviewer, I've prepared a couple questions as well. So yeah, overall I'm feeling okay for this interview. I think it should go okay because I've revised my experiences, I know my application, and also the fact that I really want this role, not only because I want to be a paralegal, but because I want to work for this company. I think that passion can really be relayed when I do my interview tomorrow. Now what I'm going to do is actually take a break away from my laptop, and this is something that I do while I'm doing like household chores or I'm reading a book or whatever, and I'll just ask myself a random question during the day. Like, Sim, what are your strengths? Like, it's like my mind is trying to surprise myself into actually thinking of a question so then it can catch me off guard. And then when answering those kind of questions to myself, I would briefly outline certain points that I would want to make. I don't actually prepare a full-on script for every answer because I don't want to come across as rehearsed. However, what I think is really important when preparing for interviews is to allocate certain experiences to mold your answer and make sure that you're answering the question properly. So during the day now, I think what I'm going to do is ask myself, why do you want this role? Sim, why do you want to work for this company? Have you had experience in this or this? Just trying to surprise myself with those kind of questions and see what answers and points I come up with in my head. So yeah, that's it for today in terms of vlogging my journey. I think later on in the evening, I may go back to the document and revise what I've written just so it sticks in my head and I'm able to allocate certain experiences to describe certain skills and qualities that I have. But I'll catch you guys tomorrow where I will tell you about the last minute preparations I do just before an interview, and then I'll actually be doing the interview. Sorry guys, I don't think I can take you into the interview. Imagine if I was sticking a camera next to me on my webcam thinking, oh my god, yeah, my YouTube channel is here as well. So after the interview, I'll let you guys know my thoughts, and of course we can also wait and see what the results tell us as well. So yeah, stay tuned guys. Good morning guys, it's the day of the interview. So like I woke up around 9 o'clock today, pretty late by my standards, but my bed was way too comfortable and I didn't want to leave. So I've literally kind of spent my morning, I've had my breakfast, but I've kept quite a kind of level head. I'm someone who, when it comes to interviews, I do keep quite relaxed and quite calm. And I think the reason for that is because I tell myself that, you know, I've done well to get to this place where I'm at right now. The interviewer has obviously looked at my profile, has looked at my CV and thought that there is something special in me. So now that's just my chance to like prove that to him essentially. So if you are someone who struggles with confidence before an interview, I think positive mantras are the way to go for me. They've really helped me. So obviously telling myself what I just told you guys now about looking rationally about your experiences and thinking, you know what, I've achieved this, I've done that, and it's just about showing that special side to yourself to the interviewer. Another thing that I mentioned yesterday that I thought I would tell you guys about today is the last minute preparation that I do for an interview like this one. So my interview's at 1 o'clock today. Right now it's 11:34, very precise. So essentially what I've been doing for the past kind of 1.5 hours is pacing my room and asking myself certain questions. Questions like, why should we hire you? Tell us about yourself. How would your friends describe you in 3 words? And also revising information about the company, the employer, and also making sure that those additional questions that I had that cropped up when I was doing my research have been noted down on paper. Another thing I do just before the interview itself is make sure that I have a copy of my application or my CV. I've got a copy of my CV right now on my laptop, and should there be a question that kind of throws me off guard and I need to think of a particular experience, I may have a mind blank, I'm able to go back to my CV, have a quick flick through and find that relevant experience just because everything's there in front of you. So that's kind of a safety net that I put in when it comes to virtual interviews like this. So now I've gone over 2 things that I think are really important before preparing for such an interview. Firstly, your mindset. Secondly, the last minute preparation that you can do. Now I feel somewhat ready for this interview. What I'm going to do is have a nice shower to energize me. As you can see, I'm looking bummy yet again. Watch this space, guys, a glow up is pending. Hey everyone, welcome back. As you can see, I am now ready for my interview. It's 12:17, so I've got, I can't do maths, oh my god, 40 minutes? I plucked a number out of my head, maybe that's right, maybe that's not, we move anyway. Got about 40 minutes left until the interview starts. I'm going to join the Zoom call around, I would say, between 5 and 10 minutes early, just so there's no kind of technical difficulties, and I think it always looks good when you arrive early. As you can see, I'm wearing a blazer and a shirt. Don't be deceived though, I'm still wearing joggers. But yeah, my camera light has just like run out of battery, so I am going to end this part of the vlog. I'll come back to you guys when the interview is done with my thoughts and, you know, how I found the interview, and then we can go to the bit where we talk about the results as well when they arrive. So if you've watched the vlog this far, thank you so much for following the journey. I really hope you found the video insightful so far in how to prepare. I'm wishing myself luck for this interview, and we'll see how it goes. See you guys in a bit. Hey everyone, I've just finished the interview now, and I would say it went pretty well. The best interviews for me are the ones where it turns into a discussion. So we discussed things like going in-house, working for a startup, etc. And I just found the conversation really insightful, and I definitely learned a lot from it. I also asked quite a few questions in terms of the role itself, in terms of working for such a company, etc. In terms of the questions and what was asked of me, essentially I was asked to describe my experiences, talk about what I've been up to in the last 2 to 3 years. So I talked about the moment when I graduated university down to now and where I'm at. There are a few moments where I felt like he was quite impressed by what I said, which was a good factor. But of course, you know, this role may be quite competitive to get into. He may have other candidates, so I'm trying not to get my hopes up right now, but we'll see how it goes. If anything, for me right now, I'm really happy because I know I put 100% effort into this interview. Regardless of whether I get the role or not, for me it's a win-win because I've learned something new, I've met someone new, and also learned from their experiences, as well as actually honed back in on my own interview experiences, because I haven't done an interview in a long while right now. So yeah, stay tuned guys, we'll see what the result is. Hopefully I will hear back from them soon. It could come at any moment, it could come today, it could come tomorrow, it could literally come next week. So yeah, fingers crossed for me guys, hopefully I get the role. Okay guys, here's the plot twist. For those of you smart cookies who probably may have guessed it already, I wasn't successful in gaining the role. The plot twist here is all of this previous footage that you've seen in this video up until this point was actually filmed in October, November time last year, and I basically held on to it for ages because obviously the result that I wanted didn't happen, so I wasn't sure whether I should even post this video now. Like, I think on social media and I think people's perception of me, I appear to maybe have everything patterned. I appear to, like, you know, whatever comes my way in life, I get it, that kind of thing. And I think for me at that time, it was like, oh raw, like this actually didn't go my way at all. And the reason why I held onto the footage was because I thought, you know what, I've put so much time into filming this, I might change my mind later on. And skip forward a couple of months, it's now January when I'm filming this right now. And I was in the shower randomly and I was like, oh my god, I've still got those clips on my camera from my old paralegal job that, you know, the application that and the interview that didn't quite go my way. And I thought, you know what, I think I'm going to post it. And the reason why I changed my mind is because one of the main reasons why I created Sim's Legal Mentoring was to be open and transparent about my journey. Not everything was fine and dandy and, you know, dandy? When have I ever used that word? But not everything was easy. Not everything. I had setbacks, I had obstacles along the way, and I think me posting this kind of goes towards ensuring that I am remaining honest and practical and transparent, and I think those were some of the main objectives that I had when I created this page. And another reason why I decided to post this video at the end was to kind of raise light on an issue that I feel like has arisen in legal recruitment generally. And it's something that I've noticed when I was an applicant in the process myself, when I was applying for paralegal roles, when I was applying for training contracts or vacation schemes. And it's also something that I've noticed in my mentees as well, so people that I provide advice to and guidance to. And I just feel like there is a lack of transparency and honesty from an employer's perspective. And let me explain to you guys why. Before I start, I just want to say that this is a very generalized view. I'm not saying that every legal recruiter or employer or firm is like this. This is just something that I've noticed from the experiences of very few, including myself. So I received the result of the interview and the feedback, I think a week or so later. And you know, the people were really nice and they said, sorry, it didn't quite go your way. They provided me feedback and pretty much everything was perfect. They imagined that I could work with them successfully. They said that they were really impressed with my experiences. I even asked them, okay, where did I go wrong then? Like, you know, there must be a reason why I was rejected. And they said, well, your training contract's starting too soon, and essentially we're looking for someone who's starting and can be there for longer. And I was like, okay, cool, that's fine, that's fine. So they essentially picked someone because they would be able to be there at the company for longer. And that's fine, I get that, because when you are hiring someone on, that's an investment. You're investing in their training, in their salary, in their development. So why would you sometimes hire someone for a month or 2 months or whatever? But the thing is, with this actual role, it was only advertised for that kind of period, which is something that matched me. It matched my requirements. I had a month or 2 to give before I started my training contract. But one thing I guess that kind of annoyed me a little bit with this whole situation was before they invited me to an interview, they knew what my situation was. They knew when I was starting my training contract. There wasn't any point during the advertisement of the job vacancy or it wasn't ever communicated to me that they were essentially looking for someone who could potentially stay on for longer. From my knowledge, it was only going to be for that long placement, but the reason why they couldn't take me on is because they changed their mind about how long they wanted the ideal candidate to stay on for. And it's fine, I guess. People change their minds all the time about everything, and that's completely fine. But I pretty much cleared my schedule for that day, cancelled everything that I had so I could take on that interview the next day, and I was ready for it. And I just wish that sometimes employers and recruiters, just from a general perspective, I'm not atting anyone, I'm not saying that everyone, every recruiter, every employer in the legal sphere is like this. It's not like that in any way. But I just wish that there was more of an understanding of the investment that we as applicants put into the process. And things like, you know, sometimes I even asked them, you know, could you provide me actual constructive criticism on where I went wrong? And they weren't able to provide that because essentially my performance was okay. And I guess that's a positive, I guess. So all the advice that I've given in this video is still applicable, even though I may not have gotten the role that I wanted. I just wish that they were a lot more transparent about the kind of candidate they were looking for. Essentially, rather than me wasting my day preparing for this interview. And I put wasting in apostrophes because I don't like using that word, because at the end of the day, I didn't really essentially waste my day. I actually practiced and honed in on my interview experience, which I didn't have for quite a long time. I haven't interviewed for a firm for quite long. So, you know, it was a positive that I managed to get that interview experience back in again. It was a bonus that I was able to revise my CV and pick up on those old experiences that I had. But yeah, I guess I just wish that in this scenario, like just generally, I wish employers and legal recruiters sometimes, not acting any specific recruiters, because I know so many who do an absolutely fantastic job, but I just wish that there was a bit more transparency, a bit more honesty, and a bit more understanding that we as applicants are investing time in applying to you as well. But yeah, anyway, rant over. I think, you know, I'm really happy that I have posted this. If you guys disagree with anything that I've said, or if I've offended anyone, that was definitely not my intention at all. If you do have any disagreements, or, you know, if you feel like I've not said anything correct, please do let me know in the comments below. And also, if you don't feel like commenting, drop me a message on LinkedIn or Instagram about this. More than happy to engage in a conversation about this. But yeah, essentially, I think that's everything I wanted to say. I am now going to continue the rest of my jobless life until I start my training contract, and I'll take you guys every step of the journey with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find the advice helpful. And if you are looking for paralegal jobs, I wish you all the best. I hope it goes well. And yeah, good luck. I'll see you guys in the next video.